Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to Hauntra. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so that you don't miss any exciting coming up videos. A paranormal investigative team arrives at Silverstone Manor, a remote Victorian mansion hidden deep in the countryside. Rumored to be cursed, the manor has been the site of multiple disappearances spanning over a century. Team leader Ethan, an experienced but skeptical investigator, is joined by Claire, a psychic medium, Lucas, a tech expert, and Mia, a historian familiar with the manor's dark past. The mansion looms under a blood-red sunset, its broken windows and overgrown ivy giving it a sinister presence. As they approach, the air grows colder, and the team notices a peculiar silence. No birds, no rustling leaves, just an oppressive stillness. Mia mentions the locals' belief that the spirits of the Silverstone family still haunt the grounds, especially the children who vanished mysteriously. Ethan shrugs it off, determined to debunk the legends, while Claire looks visibly uneasy. Inside, the manor is eerily preserved, with decayed furniture and a faint smell of damp wood. Lucas begins setting up cameras and motion sensors as the team prepares for a night they will never forget. The team splits up to explore the manor. Ethan and Claire take the second floor, while Lucas and Mia examine the ground floor. As Claire enters a child's bedroom, she suddenly freezes. "They're here," she whispers, her face pale. Ethan notices a rocking horse moving slowly, even though the air in the room is completely still. Meanwhile, Mia finds a ledger in the study detailing the Silverstone family's daily life. Thomas Silverstone's handwriting is erratic toward the end, she notes. The final entry reads, "The house demands more." Lucas, inspecting the kitchen, discovers a cellar door that appears bolted shut, yet a cold draft seeps through the gaps. Reuniting in the foyer, they hear faint rhythmic tapping coming from upstairs. Claire is visibly shaken, saying, "It's not just one presence, it's many." Ethan brushes it off as wind, though his unease grows. They decide to set up a base in the large dining hall, a room with cracked walls and an ominous chandelier hanging overhead. The house feels alive. The team realizes they've stepped into a place where time has stood still, and something sinister watches their every move. As the team gathers, Lucas mentions the cellar door in the kitchen. "It's bolted, but I swear I felt something cold coming from behind it." Curious, Ethan insists on investigating. When they reach the door, Claire's face twists in discomfort. "There's something wrong here," she murmurs, backing away. Using a crowbar, Ethan breaks the rusted bolts. The door creaks open, revealing a dark staircase leading into the earth. A foul stench wafts up, making Mia gag. Claire refuses to go down, claiming she hears faint whispers coming from below. Ethan, undeterred, descends with Lucas and Mia while Claire stays behind, visibly shaken. The cellar is unnervingly large, with walls lined with decayed barrels and dusty shelves. In the corner, they find a stone altar smeared with what appears to be old bloodstains. Lucas's thermal camera picks up a heat signature that quickly dissipates as they approach it. Ethan brushes his hand against the altar and hears a faint, childlike giggle echo in his ears. The team hurries back upstairs, disturbed but still rationalizing the events as tricks of the mind. However, Claire's terror is growing. She insists they're not alone and begs them to leave the manor. Ethan ignores her warnings, determined to uncover the truth. The team begins their night investigation with cameras rolling and audio equipment active. Lucas monitors the feeds in the dining hall while Ethan and Mia check out the second floor. Claire reluctantly follows but grows increasingly distressed. She whispers, "They don't want us here." Ethan spots a series of faded drawings on the wall of one bedroom, childlike scrawls of stick figures, but all of them appear headless. What kind of kid draws this? Mia wonders aloud. Claire suddenly clutches her head and screams, "Make them stop." Ethan notices faint whispers growing louder, seemingly coming from all directions. Lucas calls through the walkie-talkie, his voice panicked. "Guys, something's moving on the first floor, but there's no one here." On the monitors, he sees a shadowy figure dart across the foyer, but the live feed glitches before he can get a clearer look. The team regroups downstairs, tension mounting. Claire pleads for them to leave the house, saying the spirits are growing agitated. Ethan brushes it off as paranoia, but even he feels the oppressive weight of unseen eyes watching their every move. The team, shaken by the strange occurrences, sets up in the living room to gather their thoughts. Suddenly, a cold wind sweeps through the room, causing the chandelier to sway violently. The temperature drops by several degrees, and their breath becomes visible in the air. Ethan checks the thermometers, but they show nothing out of the ordinary. "It's just a draft," he mutters, though the unease in his voice betrays his disbelief. Claire shivers uncontrollably, muttering under her breath that the house is angry. As the temperature continues to plummet, Lucas's equipment picks up a strange frequency on the audio recorder. It sounds like chanting, distant and muffled, yet it's clear enough to cause the hairs on their necks to stand on end. Claire turns pale, insisting that the spirits of the Silverstone family are calling to them from the walls. Before they can respond, a loud bang echoes from above, followed by the unmistakable sound of running footsteps. Ethan grabs his flashlight, determined to investigate. The others follow reluctantly, knowing they've crossed into territory that no longer feels like simple paranormal investigation. It feels personal. As they ascend to the second floor, the temperature continues to drop, and the house feels heavier with every step. The footsteps grow louder, as if someone or something is pacing the hallway just out of view. Claire freezes at the top of the stairs, whispering, "It's here. The thing that doesn't want us here." They approach the source of the noise, but the hall is empty. Lucas scans the room with his infrared camera, capturing a fleeting figure that disappears as quickly as it appears. "What the hell was that?" he breathes, his voice filled with disbelief. Suddenly a door slams shut down the hall, rattling the entire floor. Mia screams, and Claire collapses to her knees, clutching her chest in fear. Ethan pushes forward, his curiosity outweighing the fear building in the group. He opens the door to find nothing but an empty, dusty room. As the team regroups, the house seems to pulse with an ominous energy. They realize they are no longer in control. Silverstone Manor is toying with them, manipulating their senses and their perception of reality. In the dead of night, Claire is awakened by a heavy pressure on her chest. She gasps for air and sits up, but the room is pitch dark, the only sound being her rapid breathing. Suddenly, a tall figure looms in the doorway. It is Thomas Silverstone, his pale, hollow face expressionless, his eyes black voids. Claire screams, waking the others. Ethan rushes to her side, but the figure vanishes before his eyes. "I saw him. He's real," Claire cries, her voice trembling. Ethan is skeptical, but his rational mind struggles to explain the terror in Claire's eyes. Mia, however, senses something deeper, something ancient. "Silverstone didn't just disappear," she says, her voice trembling. "He became part of the house. His spirit never left." They decide to delve deeper into the manor's secrets, seeking to uncover what binds Thomas Silverstone to the estate. The air grows thick with malevolent energy, as if the house itself is resisting their every move. As Mia continues her research, she uncovers a disturbing part of the manor's history: the disappearance of the Silverstone children. According to local records, they vanished one winter night. Their bodies never found. Some believe their spirits still roam the house, trapped between worlds. Claire begins to sense the children's presence more strongly, hearing faint giggles and whispers that grow louder as she moves through the halls. Ethan remains skeptical, but the atmosphere in the house becomes undeniably oppressive. The team returns to the child's bedroom, where the mysterious rocking horse continues to sway. Suddenly, Claire's eyes widen as she sees shadowy figures darting in and out of view, their eyes gleaming with an eerie light. The spirits of the children have made contact, and they are angry. The air grows colder, and a deep, mournful cry echoes through the walls. The team is not alone. The spirits of Silverstone Manor have begun to reveal themselves, and their intentions are far from welcoming. As the investigation intensifies, Lucas uncovers an old journal hidden beneath the floorboards. The journal belongs to an unknown author, describing a dark entity that is said to have cursed Silverstone Manor. According to the journal, the entity feeds off the fear of its victims, growing stronger with each life it claims. The team begins to realize that the spirits of the Silverstone family may not be the true threat. The real danger lies in the malevolent entity that has taken control of the house. Claire, now visibly exhausted, warns that the entity's power is growing. "It's feeding off us," she says, her voice trembling. "We need to leave, or it will never let us go." Despite her warnings, Ethan refuses to abandon the investigation. He believes they are close to unraveling the truth behind the manor's curse. But as the night wears on, the entity becomes more aggressive, its presence felt in every room, every shadow. As the team prepares to leave the basement after finding the journal, a sudden force slams Lucas into a wall. He gasps for air, feeling an unseen pressure crushing his chest. Claire shrieks, sensing the entity's violent presence. Ethan rushes to help Lucas, but as soon as he touches him, the entire room seems to darken, and the air grows suffocating. The walls appear to close in, and the sound of heavy breathing fills their ears. Mia pulls out a ritualistic charm, hoping to ward off the entity. But the house responds violently, causing the ground to shake and objects to fly across the room. Lucas struggles to regain his composure, but the force continues to hold him in place. With sheer willpower, Ethan manages to pull Lucas free, and the team retreats back to the first floor. The entity's presence lingers, its grip on the manor tightening. It's clear that leaving will not be so simple. After the attack, the team regroups in the dining room. They are all visibly shaken, but Ethan, driven by his desire to uncover the truth, insists they press on. Mia, however, is no longer certain they can stop what's happening. She pulls out a historical document she found in the manor's library, describing a pact made between Thomas Silverstone and an ancient entity. The pact, made in exchange for wealth and power, bound the Silverstone family to the entity, ensuring its control over the manor for eternity. The entity doesn't just haunt the house, Mia says, her voice trembling. It is the house. It lives in the walls, in the very ground beneath our feet. Ethan, though disturbed, refuses to believe they're trapped. "We have to break the pact," he insists, determined to end the haunting once and for all. But Claire warns that trying to break the pact might cost them everything. The entity will take what it wants, no matter the cost, she says. Despite the warning, the team begins researching how to break the curse, knowing they have little time before the entity's power becomes unstoppable. The team begins to notice disturbing changes within the manor. Time seems to warp, as if the house exists in a different dimension entirely. In one room it's night, but when they turn around, the same room is flooded with daylight. The laws of reality bend under the entity's control. As they explore deeper, they find strange markings etched into the floorboards, symbols of the entity's influence. Claire's psychic abilities flare, and she falls into a trance. When she awakens, she reveals that the entity is growing restless. It knows we're trying to stop it, she whispers. Suddenly, the team is struck by a series of disturbing visions. Lucas sees himself trapped in the basement, unable to escape, while Mia is haunted by the image of a child's ghost pulling her deeper into the house. Ethan watches as Thomas Silverstone's ghost approaches, his eyes empty and soulless. The manor is alive, and its malevolent presence is closing in on them. The team is no longer in control. As the night drags on, the team's resolve weakens. They begin to question whether they will survive the night in the manor. Lucas, frustrated and terrified, decides to venture alone into the cellar, hoping to find something that could explain the entity's power. But when he steps into the dark, cold basement, he vanishes without a trace. His screams echo through the house, but when the team rushes to his location, the cellar is empty. There's no sign of Lucas, just the faint smell of decay. Ethan, desperate to find him, orders a thorough search of the manor. Claire, overwhelmed with fear, begs him to stop. The house is taking us one by one, she cries. It's going to take you next. The team is shaken to the core. Lucas is gone, and with him, their last hope of finding a way out. The entity is claiming them, one soul at a time. As they search the house for clues to Lucas's disappearance, Mia uncovers a hidden room in the basement. Inside, an altar similar to the one found earlier is surrounded by old faded candles, their wax hardened with age. This is where it all began, Mia says, her voice hollow. The pact was sealed here, with blood. The walls of the room are covered in strange, ritualistic symbols, and in the center lies a tattered book, its pages filled with dark incantations. Claire, her eyes wide with horror, claims she feels the entity's presence growing stronger. It knows we're getting closer, she warns. The team reluctantly begins to decipher the ritual, hoping it will give them the power to break the pact and save themselves. But as they recite the words aloud, the house begins to tremble. The entity is awakening. A cold, malevolent laughter fills the room, and they realize too late that the ritual is a trap. The entity is no longer dormant. It is preparing to claim them all. With the ritual complete, the team is unprepared for the full force of the entity's wrath. The house shakes violently, as if alive, with the walls cracking and the floorboards splintering beneath their feet. The temperature plummets to an unbearable low. Ethan struggles to maintain control, shouting commands to the group, but they are no match for the entity's power. Claire, eyes wide with terror, screams as ghostly figures begin to materialize around them. The spirits of the Silverstone family, twisted and broken, reach out with skeletal hands, their hollow eyes pleading for release. The entity's presence fills every corner of the manor. The walls seem to breathe, and the very air feels suffocating. The team is trapped, with no way out. Claire falls to her knees, her voice breaking. It's too late. The house will never let us go. Ethan looks around in desperation. Their only hope now lies in finding a way to confront the entity before it consumes them all. With no other choice, the team prepares for a final confrontation with the entity. Mia, holding the ancient book, begins chanting the incantation they uncovered earlier. The ground shakes as the air becomes thick with malevolent energy. Claire, her body trembling, is the first to sense the entity's true form. A massive dark cloud swirling in the center of the room, its tendrils reaching out toward them. It's the embodiment of fear, of darkness itself. Ethan steps forward, his voice steady despite the overwhelming terror surrounding them. "We can end this. We have to end this." He grabs Mia's arm, guiding her through the chant, but the entity fights back, sending waves of dark energy crashing toward them. The house groans, its walls cracking as the entity's form begins to shrink. Slowly but surely, the power of the ritual starts to take effect. The entity screams in fury, but the team holds their ground, desperate to free themselves from its grasp. As the ritual reaches its peak, the entity unleashes a final, desperate attack. The team is thrown back, their bodies battered by unseen forces, but they refuse to let go. In the final moments of the ritual, Claire, drained and barely conscious, gives one last push of energy. Her body pulses with light, and the entity shrieks in agony. "No, you cannot break the pact," it roars, but it's too late. With a blinding flash, the entity is torn from the manor, its presence vanishing from the house forever. The oppressive air lifts, and the house begins to settle as if releasing a long-held breath. But the victory comes at a terrible price. Claire collapses, her life force drained. She has sacrificed herself to break the curse. Ethan kneels beside her, unable to save her. "Thank you," Claire whispers with her last breath. "You're free now." The team stands in the aftermath of the battle, breathing in the now clear air of Silverstone Manor. The oppressive weight that had once hung over them is gone, replaced by a haunting silence. The house, now freed of the entity's influence, feels abandoned but peaceful. Ethan and Mia exchange a look, both relieved but scarred by what they've witnessed. "We need to leave," Ethan says quietly. "This place isn't safe for anyone." They gather their equipment, leaving the manor behind. As they step out into the fresh air, the sun begins to rise, casting a warm glow over the estate. But just as they're about to leave the grounds, Ethan hears a faint whisper in the wind, Claire's voice. "Thank you," it says, barely audible. Months pass since the team left Silverstone Manor, but the events of that night linger in their minds. Ethan, now a believer in the paranormal, has dedicated his life to investigating haunted locations, but Silverstone Manor remains his most haunting experience. Mia, who continues her research, discovers that the manor's history is far darker than anyone realized. The entity wasn't just a spirit. It was an ancient being, once worshipped by a cult that sacrificed the lives of many innocents to gain power. The Silverstone family's pact was only one of many made over centuries. Though the entity was banished, the house's legacy lives on in the souls it claimed. But Mia, determined to uncover the truth, continues her investigation, hoping that one day she can free the souls trapped within the manor for good. One evening, as Mia reviews her notes, she receives an unexpected message, an anonymous tip pointing her toward a new location, a mansion that mirrors Silverstone Manor. Her heart races as she recognizes the name of the estate. The same entity that haunted Silverstone Manor may have moved on, but its thirst for power is far from quenched. The message ends with a chilling warning. You can never escape the darkness. It will always find you. Mia closes her notebook, staring out into the distance. She knows what she has to do. The entity may have been defeated, but its legacy lives on, and there are more battles to come. Thanks for watching, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for more new videos.